Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Alien Romulus. Going back to the Alien franchise in this way, and having kind of a return to the haunted house movie in space, like this is. Fede Alvarez completely understands what made, specifically, I think, the first one really special, which was combining a certain genre with science fiction, combining a haunted house movie or a spooky movie. And this is very much that. It feels almost like Don't Breathe. A bunch of kids break into somewhere to get something, to help them out, to advance, to get to move somewhere else. It's very similar to that. And it feels perfect in this world. It definitely feels like the 70s. It feels right after Alien. It kind of a return to what you like about this franchise and what you remember about this franchise. And it feels like a worthy successor, like right up there, almost next to those great films. Not as good as, but like you could watch it after and be satisfied. I did like this movie. I enjoyed this film. I thought Fede Alvarez did a great job directing it. But I can't help but think that after I've watched so many films go back to a franchise and do it good enough that it's like better than all the shitty sequels, but not as good as like the real good ones. I did like it. I did have a good time. I think it's a great Alien movie. But at the same time, it's like, how many of these fucking times can I go back to re-watching something from my childhood or nostalgia, or like going back to these franchises and like doing the thing again? It's like I've done it so many times as a moviegoer and as I make these reviews and stuff that it felt exciting, but it also didn't, because it's like, yeah, but you know, how many times can I say, well, yeah, it's different for Alien, well, yeah, it's different for Evil Dead, yeah, it's different for Jurassic World, it's different, you know, we haven't had a good Star Wars in a long time, and it's like, you know, like Ghostbusters, the Terminator, and this and that, and it just doesn't going back to a franchise and doing this doesn't feel exciting at all at this point. In fact, it feels very typical, but I think I kind of wrestle with this movie, because I'm half like, do I need to keep doing this? You know, Alien was the first R-rated movie I ever saw when I was a kid. So that franchise means a certain amount to me, I would say. I overwatched it when I was a kid because I was allowed to watch it, and it was R-rated. So, of course, any chance I could. I haven't really watched as much as I did in elementary school. Not that I don't like it or anything, and yes, I should review the first two at the very least at some point. I don't know why I haven't done that. But this, like, it feels like the 70s kind of aesthetic. It feels like the way to it. But it understands, like, just doing, like, a cool alien adventure. It's not trying to, like, change everything. It's not really trying to bring someone back, although it does pretty horribly. Overall, this is a very great sci-fi action thriller. I think my bigger issues are, what the fuck are we doing re-going to these things so often? So the plot of Alien Romulus is a bunch of kids who are stuck on a Weyland-Yutani mining community decide they're going to go up and go to this abandoned space station and get some kind of hypersleep pod things. And so once they're in there, they can travel to a planet they want to and not just be stuck on a mining colony. So they go in, and what do you know? They discover facehuggers and aliens and have to sort of fight their way out. I do think what Fede Alvarez understands, and what's super interesting is, like, he did a reboot already. The poster was all in red in that one too. That felt like he was doing his own Evil Dead. This feels like he's trying to make Ridley Scott's Alien. Like, he's definitely making a follow-up. So it's sort of interesting, two waves of remakes or reboots or whatever from this guy. Whereas I don't love his Evil Dead. It's not my favorite Evil Dead. It at least was original and different, and I really actually respected that about it. This feels like, as many people have called it, the Force Awakens for the Alien franchise. And in some ways I agree, in other ways I don't, because I think with Alien Romulus, yes, it is sort of a sequel or takes place right after the first Alien, I think. I didn't look that up, but definitely after the first Alien. Maybe other stuff, I don't know. But it very much understands kind of the simplicity of sort of another adventure, which is sort of what I've been thinking about more with franchises, like how it used to be they go on another adventure. They don't have to like save the world every time. And I think this plays like that. I've heard people say it feels like, a YA book or something, which those books kind of did, where it's like, oh, the Hardy Boys are solving another mystery. But you might also think, well, the Hardy Boys or the Babysitter's Club or the Boxcar Children or whomever, yes, but they have like 100 books, so maybe they know something about managing a franchise that has that many entries in it. But I think here, what he gets is just a simple kind of thriller thing, and I think that's what worked about Ridley Scott's Alien in particular, and what can work in any kind of horror sort of thing. You don't want to think too much. It's more about the set pieces and what you can do with it. And he does a lot with a lot of these set pieces. He does this thing with zero gravity, which is pretty cool. He's really smart at understanding, how to make it interesting, how to make it captivating and scary. There's a lot of times where, like, I think there's something with a X-ray light thing, and immediately I was like, well, we're gonna bring that back, or this is gonna come back. But I sort of like went with it because it's so well constructed very basically, but constructed to do those things. And when you get to those things, even though I knew the X-ray thing, it was still horrifying and creepy and stuff. And even though I knew the thing with the woman's pregnancy and with this, like, I knew something fucked up was going to happen, I still, like, when I got there, I was excited and on the edge of my seat. So I think in a lot of ways this movie is typical and doesn't feel as surprising and doesn't feel as challenging. But on another level, it's entertaining as all fucking hell, and I had a good time. I think they want you to, like, maybe not think so hard about this one, which I think is like a kind of thing for all these sort of movies where, like, hey, it's back. Aren't you happy it's back? Our corporate overlords are happy that it's back. It's back. Don't worry. I know you didn't like the prequels. These are just like Star Wars. You get the original ones, then you had prequels, and they had to like rejuvenate it or whatever. But that's what Force Awakens was. That's what this was. Their purpose was to bring back these franchises in the public mind, like give a positive view in the public mind of Alien or Star Wars or whatever. And that's what this does, and it does it excellently well. I hope Fede Alvarez does more original stuff or does more different stuff. I think this shows he's a very talented director. Other than his weird Lisbeth Salander movie that nobody really wants to talk about, he's done a fairly good, interesting filmography. The bigger thing I think to talk about is the inclusion of Ian Holm through this kind of AI CG thing. And although they did have the permission of the estate, I hope got paid well, I really didn't like that whole part. I think you could have just had a interesting character actor play that part and not have it be CG Ian Holm. It didn't look great. It was very obviously referencing something, which they do a few times, which I think is to the movie's detriment. It's like, you already have aliens on a cool looking 70s sci-fi ship. You don't need to have the robot kid say, oh, get off her, you bitch, and stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it, but it didn't make me want to clap. It just kind of like disappointed in that kind of stuff. I do think it's like you have the nostalgia there. You don't really need all these other things, and they just like keep insisting, like, no, you'll feel even better. And I'm like, no, I really don't like this. Like, please don't do CG Ian Holm and stuff. It's like that felt odd to me. Like, I didn't really understand what they're doing. I'm just like, hey, it's nostalgia. Aren't you happy with this nostalgia? And that's kind of all we're really saying there. In terms of, I think Kaylee Spenny did a great job, as well as David Johnson, who plays this kind of synthetic robot thing, which is not new to the franchise, but it was still like the idea of that, not him. But I thought he showed a lot of range and really, really an interesting actor. Isabella Marced, I think, who's in the Door movie, which we watch a lot in my house. She was very good as well. I just don't I think Fede Alvarez is a very talented director, but I don't think he was sort of like, it's almost like there's been so many kind of, oh, this is the Force Awakens of this franchise type of thing, that he probably knows. It felt like someone who knew what kind of movie they were delivering. Like, I'm making an alien movie and this reboot culture thing and stuff. It does feel depressing sometimes seeing so many of these, because I often think like, oh, this is what just movies are. And as much as it's fun to like think about Alien or rewatch, you know, the other film in the franchise and like really think about that, and then see this new one and stuff, it does feel like we've done this so many times. And like, after this I'm gonna see Beetlejuice and like all this stuff, and it's like it never fucking ends. I can be entertained while I'm sitting in my existential despair that like all films are reboots and sequels and stuff. And if there's ever a list of things, I would say this is one of the better ones of that. I don't include the Mad Max ones because that's just like, Mad Max is above everything, I guess. But this just, it was a very sturdy, solid Alien film. If you like Alien movies, you'll have a great time with it. If you don't, then why are you watching it? Or if you aren't aware or something. But I think it's a very solid movie. I just wish, honestly, there wasn't so many of these reboots are sucking up the air, and it feels like as much as people complain that Hollywood isn't original anymore, we're all, you know, keep seeing these and keep making them hits, and like maybe it's like our own fault or something, but it doesn't feel as interesting. It does feel like, you know, you're not discovering anything new. You're not broadening your horizons. You're staying within them and just going like, oh look, they reference a thing in the thing, and like that looks like it just looked in the movie. Like, you can't believe we're getting worse from that. But I think storytelling should be more than that, not just that. But I think this showcases what a long-running franchise storytelling can do. Just like a simple, quick kind of adventure kind of story. Like, it's fine. These people can come and go in this weird research facility and try to find stuff and no aliens attack them. Like, that's totally fine. It doesn't, you know, it's not like they said, oh no, we knocked out Ripley's sleeping pod or something. Like, there's nothing like that. It's just sort of an isolated adventure, and sometimes the stakes are like pretty crazy, maybe unnecessarily so. But I think Fede Alvarez did a great job of doing another Alien adventure. Did he fully know what he was saying with that, other than just making another decent Alien movie? Not really, but I think that's like sort of the point. It's like, you got a decent Alien movie, you feel good about Alien, and then we move on, and hopefully they can make more of these things. I hope they keep up the quality and stuff. It does feel a little sort of like, oh, of course we're doing it this way kind of thing. It doesn't feel surprising. It doesn't feel interesting as a viewer. It just feels like, okay, I guess that's Alien. And I wish for something more from it. I wish they hadn't used the weird CG thing and all that. That's sort of like what you get with Alien Romulus, and that's where we are with these reboots. It's like, oh, you did the thing, quality-wise is up to this, it wasn't too offensive, remind me of a thing, I'm happy. And as long as it does that, I guess we all are, but I feel like we're losing out on seeing new and original and interesting things while we all waste our sort of time talking about this and how cool it is. I'm not sure what's fully being achieved artistically other than like, look, I did the thing, even though that thing is really cool. I think Fede Alvarez kind of shows himself more as a craftsman in this than really very much an auteur, but there is talent in being a craftsman, and I think he showed how talented he could be dealing with the aliens and dealing with what Alien really is at the end of the day, which is a simple concept where aliens and facehuggers attack you in an isolated space. And although that sounds terrifying for them, it's fun to watch for us. You know, I shouldn't get too upset about our Alien and our reboot culture and anything, and just sit back and relax. So if you've seen Alien Romulus and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.